This is the most efficient power station that I've tested so far on the channel. Because this is the most efficient unit, it means you use more of the stored energy by actually powering your devices than you do by actually running the unit itself. It also happens to be the lightest, most compact 2 kilowatt hour model I've tried on the channel as well. So this Anker Solix C2000 Gen 2 has got a few tricks up its sleeve. And if efficiency really matters to you and you're going to be leaving the power station turned on for a long time, then this is definitely something that you should really be considering. Now this arrived with me just before we went off to the Isle of Wight for a week. So I took this along on holiday to test it out for the week, and it really impressed.
This ferry is tiny. No.
There are stairs. Why would there not be
an upstairs for the cars?
The captain of Sinclair would like to draw your attention to this. Look out for the square, green and white sign.
I discharged this to 0. I charged it up at the highest speed. This stayed so quiet. There's only one other power station that I've tried that can remain as quiet as this thing. It's near silent pretty much all the time, even when you're thrashing this thing, fully charging at 2,300 watts, boiling a kettle, things like that, where other power stations, typically they ramp up their fans. I left it turned on for 24 hours, just with the DC ports and the USB ports live, and it didn't even drop 1 percentage point of the battery capacity. Then I switched the AC inverter on. Those can drink a lot of juice on quite a lot of the other portable power stations, and you'll see in this video how much capacity we lost after 24 hours. And if you like content with things like portable power stations, actual hands-on real experience, then make sure you subscribe and let me know your feedback in the comments. I'm always keen to hear what you think.
Of course, to start with, we had to update the firmware. It's good to see Anker Solix is supporting that. And let's start the AC charge test. Let's see how quickly it really can charge from the mains. Let's time-lapse that and speed things up a little bit. And why don't we go and have a look at a little bit of the Isle of Wight while we're waiting for it to charge. Hovercraft, of course, obligatory. Train down the pier, why not? It's good to see, electric train. Hovercraft, not quite so electric. Alright, let's jump back to the AC charge test. Here on the time-lapse, you can see it is flying. And it is meeting those claims made by Anker Solix. At just over 1 hour, we are now in the top balancing phase, so it has ramped down the charge rate. We've gone down from over 2,200 watts continuously up until 98%, and then it started throttling back the charge rate. You see the temperature has just tipped over. It was 42 degrees, it's just tipped up to 43 degrees. And the fan is whisper quiet. It hasn't ramped up a fan like I would expect. This unit is particularly quiet. The intake is on the right hand side, the grill over there, and the exhaust comes out on the left hand side. So I can feel a gentle warm breeze over on this side. But it's remarkably silent considering it spent nearly an hour charging at 2,300 watts. That's very impressive thermal management. I can't find any hot spots on the case, but on the back I can feel it's slightly warmer where the inverter is probably located. Overall, very impressive. Charge test completed. Now we're going to try leaving it on idle mode and see what the idle power consumption is like. It promises to be impressively low. And once again, we'll need a bit of time lapse because this thing just sips energy when it's on standby mode, even with the AC inverter on. Let's have another little bit of a look at the Isle of Wight. Watching a hovercraft. It's just magnificent bit of engineering, isn't it? Bring on the electric versions. Okay, we're back to the time lapse. As you can see, 10 hours in, it's used 7% of the battery power in the AC inverter. There we are, 24 hours, and we're down to 84%. Now we're going to try a little bit of USB charging. We're going to try and verify the output. So there on my Charge power bank, which is an absolute beast, it's showing that it's consuming about 11 watts. Oh, now we're on USB-C. That was a quick cut. And so this should do 140 watts. And so it's registering about 130 watts, which is a good result for these power banks. I'm using 240 watt cables, also Charge cables and the Charge power bank to just verify this. And you can see the output, Anker Solix is showing 127 watts, which is pretty much in line with what the power bank is recording. Then if we pop that over onto the lower output USB-C, we're once again at around that 11 watts. So the figures are more than good enough for both types.
Because it has a 2400 watt inverter, it can power pretty much anything with a 3-pin plug.
Here on the AC test then, we're going to start with the toaster, and we've got a 4-slot toaster. So we'll see how well this copes. Of course, it's well within the output range, so we'll increase that up. And let's go for a 3 kilowatt kettle. It just happily sits there above the rated capacity of this inverter, there or thereabouts. So let's go for the microwave. Microwaves sometimes cause a little bit of an issue for these portable power stations. Not an issue for this one.
It's got a regular 12-volt car cigarette socket, and it boasts not one, but 2 USB-C 140 watt ports. So you can power things like your MacBook and other high load devices. It has a color display, where the vast majority of these devices do not have a color display. Most of the functionality in the app can be controlled by Bluetooth, so if you're wary about connecting these devices to your Wi-Fi, you don't need to access most of the features. The power button doubles up and can toggle through and cycle through, and you can actually control some settings without even getting into the app. Control of the DC port and control of the AC sockets, of which we are given a generous 4 with good spacing, so you can fit even big plugs and big adapters in there without them hitting into each other. I very much appreciate that. No light on the unit, 1 single solar input. It's nice to see at least it is a 60 volt input for the solar charge controller. So that does mean that we can put full size panels on this, and we're not restricted to just some fold-in or portable panels. The AC input socket, and this thing is a beast when it comes to charging from AC. So if you want a quick rapid charge, this is the ticket. No ports on the back. And then we have an additional battery port here, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but I guess it does the job. So you can expand this with additional battery modules anyway. On the top, we've got some kind of faux carbon fiber looking thing in the plastic. The Anker Solix logo, plenty of space for resting your devices on top of this whilst they are charging. Good, strong handles in the right positions, which makes it an easy one-hand carry. And underneath, you see we've got quite good rugged feet, which come right to the corners. So if you are dropping this down with one hand, it touches onto this edge first and then down onto the feet. Excellent, well designed. Anker have clearly been refining their products over the last couple of generations. So what's my verdict on the Anker Solix C2000 Gen 2? It's the most efficient one I've tested. It's slightly lighter, slightly more compact, and slightly quieter than the other 2 kilowatt hour units that I've tried in the past. And as you know, I'm a big fan of this size and this form factor. This, for me, is the sweet spot of portable power stations. It can power anything that most people will realistically ever throw at it, and it has enough battery capacity that it can get you through a couple of days if there is a blackout and you need to power a fridge or anything like that. It gives you that independence, it gives you that self-sufficiency, and really it gives you strong peace of mind. Let me know in the comments what you think. This could be a pro or it could be a con. It doesn't have every bell and whistle, it doesn't have every feature, but what it does have, it does really well. The app works well, the efficiency is great. Anker have done away with the light on there. Let me know what you think about that. That said, in the app you can change how long the display stays on, so maybe you just turn the display brightness up to maximum and set it to the maximum, which I think is 30 minutes that the display can stay live. So I think it's great that we've got so much competition in the market. It makes it a little bit difficult for us as consumers to choose between all the different products. So thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, you should definitely give it a thumbs up and let me know what you thought about this video and especially what you think about the product down in the comments below. Goodbye.